Nimm sie als Bezahlung für die Schulden. He refused at first, but when he looked at her, everything changed. The wind carried dust across the barren main street of Dry Creek, the kind of wind that whispered warnings to anyone foolish enough to ignore them. Jake Tiller stepped out of the saloon, pushing aside the batwing doors with a sigh that came from somewhere deep in his bones. He'd ridden for 3 days, slept for 2 hours, and drunk enough cheap whiskey to forget why he'd come, almost. But not quite. Behind him, the saloon door creaked again. Old man Crenshaw's voice rasped, "Jake, you owe me. Been 3 months. You think I've forgotten?" Jake did turn around. His jaw clenched, muscles tight beneath grime and exhaustion. "I know exactly what I owe," he muttered. "I just need more time." Crenshaw snorted, "Amuse. You said that the last time you rode through this town." His boots scraped on the wooden porch. "And I ain't giving time no more." Jake turned slowly, hand instinctively drifting near his holster. "I told you I'd pay back every cent." "You said that," Crenshaw rasped, stepping into the sunlight so every wrinkle and bitter line etched across his face showed. "But your words buy me nothing. I want payment. Today." Jake's shoulders tensed. "I don't have $1 on me." "I know." Crenshaw grinned a gap-toothed grin that made Jake's pulse flicker uneasily. "That's why I'm offering you a different kind of arrangement. Full clearance of your debt." Jake narrowed his eyes. "What arrangement?" Crenshaw lifted a finger. The door behind them opened, and 2 men pushed forward a young woman, hands bound, cheeks scraped, hair tangled but clearly once well kept. She stumbled to her knees, gasping as the sunlight hit her. Crenshaw's voice slid through the air like a snake. "Take her as payment for the debt." Jake froze. His first instinct was fury. "What the hell are you talking about? I didst come here for." "You came here owing me," Crenshaw cut in. "And I'm offering you a chance to clear it. She's worth more than what you owe anyway." Jake took a step forward. "Where did she come from?" "A wagon outside town," Crenshaw replied, waving a dismissive hand. "Travelers got themselves killed by bandits. She was all that was left. My boys found her. So she's mine." "She's not yours," Jake growled. Crenshaw chuckled. "Everything in Dry Creek that ain't nailed down becomes mine eventually. Especially strays without names." The woman lifted her head. Her eyes, green and bright even beneath dust and fear, met Jake's. Something struck him like a blow to the gut. Not beauty, though she had that. Not pity, though she was clearly terrified. It was something he couldn't name, a pull, a quiet plea, a spark of defiance hiding beneath despair. Jake swallowed thickly. "Und hier, he said. That ain't part of the offer," Crenshaw said. Jake stepped closer, voice lowering. "Und hier." Crenshaw held up a hand, and one of his men cut the rope binding her wrists. She winced, rubbing raw skin, then looked at Jake again, longer this time. Something passed between them, something sharp and electric. Jake forced his voice steady. "I don't take people as payment." "You do now," Crenshaw said, turning away. "Or you die owing me, and she gets sold to someone far less gentle." Jake's hand twitched near his gun. For a second he thought he'd draw, shoot Crenshaw where he stood, then fight his way out of town. But Dry Creek wasn't forgiving. The sheriff was in Crenshaw's pocket. Half the men in town owed him money or blood. Jake would last maybe 30 seconds. The woman whispered, barely audible, "Please, don't let him send me away." Jake looked at her. Really looked. And something changed. Something inside him shifted, clicked, woke up. He knew then there was no walking away. Not from this. Not from her. He exhaled slowly, as if surrendering to a fate he hadn't known was waiting. "Fine," Jake said. "I'll take her." Crenshaw smirked triumphantly. "Good man." "But," Jake added sharply, "my deep's fully cleared. This ends here." Crenshaw waved him off. "Debt cleared. She's yours." Jake helped the woman to her feet. She stumbled, leaning against him, trembling but still holding onto that tiny flicker of strength. He kept one arm around her as he guided her down the steps. "What's your name?" he asked softly. She hesitated, then whispered, "Ilara." Jake nodded. "You're safe now." But deep down he knew that was a lie, or at least half a lie. Because the moment he took her, something in Crenshaw's eyes changed. Something calculating. Something hungry. Jake and Ilara walked toward the stables, moving slowly so she could keep her balance. Jake saddled his horse, preparing to leave the cursed town behind. "You can ride with me," he told her gently. She nodded, though her hands still trembled. "Thank you." "We're leaving now," Jake said. He lifted her onto the horse, swung himself up behind her, and nudged the horse into motion. They rode out of Dry Creek, the dusty buildings shrinking behind them. For a few minutes, it was quiet. Peaceful. As peaceful as the desert could be. Then Ilara whispered, "You shouldn't have taken me." Jake frowned. "You were in trouble." "You don't know what trouble follows me," she said. "Those bandits, they weren't strangers." Jake stiffened. "What do you mean?" "I was taken from my home weeks ago," she murmured, voice shaking. "Sold from one gang to another. I escaped this morning, just before Crenshaw's men found me." Jake tightened his grip on the reins. "Then we're not going back." She turned slightly, looking at him. "He won't let you just leave with me." "I noticed," Jake muttered. As if on cue, a gunshot cracked in the distance. Ilara gasped. Jake cursed under his breath. "Hold on." He urged the horse into a gallop. Dust clouded behind them as they sped across desert ground. Shouts echoed from Dry Creek. "Riders. Many riders." "That bastard sent his men," Jake growled. "Because he wants me back," Ilara whispered. "Because he thinks he still owns you." Jake's jaw hardened. "But he doesn't." The sound of horses behind them grew louder. Jake pulled left, guiding them toward a rocky ridge where the terrain narrowed. If they could hide, ambush, or outmaneuver them, maybe they'd have a chance. They reached the ridge as the sun dipped, casting long shadows across the valley. Jake slowed the horse and jumped down, pulling Ilara with him. "Keep behind me," he said, grabbing his rifle from the saddle. Ilara hid behind a boulder, watching as Jake positioned himself between her and the approaching riders. His stance was steady, fearless, like he'd done this 100 times. The first 3 riders appeared around the bend. Jake fired once. A man toppled off his horse. The other 2 scattered. More riders emerged, gunfire cracking across the ridge. Jake fired again and again, hitting targets with impossible precision. Ilara watched him, heart pounding. She didn't know who Jake Tiller really was, but one thing was certain, he wasn't just a wanderer. He was something dangerous. Something deadly. Something extraordinary. But he was outnumbered. A bullet grazed Jake's shoulder. He stumbled but kept firing. Ilara crawled toward him, grabbing his fallen revolver. "Stay down." Jake shouted. "No," she said, voice trembling but firm. "I won't leave you." She fired clumsily at a rider, surprising both herself and the man she hit. Jake stared for a second, shocked. "You ever shot before?" he asked. "No." "Well, you're a natural," he said. The remaining riders hesitated. Jake used the moment to drag Ilara deeper into the ridge. They ducked into a narrow crevice hidden between boulders. "We can't stay," Ilara whispered. "They'll track us." "I know." Jake reloaded. "But I'm not letting them take you." Ilara stared at him. "Why?" "You could we walked away back in town." Jake looked at her, eyes dark and intense. "Because something changed when I saw you." She swallowed, breath shaking. "Cheek." He didn't let her finish. "We're getting out of this. I promise." They moved through the ridge, climbing higher. Crenshaw's men were circling, searching, calling out threats that echoed through the rocks. Ilara slipped on loose gravel. Jake caught her waist, steadying her. For a heartbeat they stayed frozen, faces inches apart, breath mingling. A shout broke the moment. Teary up there. Cheeks wollte. Keep moving. They scrambled up the last stretch of the ridge. From the top, the world spread out before them, miles of desert, open and brutal and unforgiving. Jake scanned the horizon. There's a canyon 2 miles ahead. If we reach it, we can lose them. Ilara nodded, determination igniting behind her fear. Then let's go. They slid down the far side of the ridge, stumbling into the canyon as moonlight began to rise. Behind them, Crenshaw's men thundered closer. Jake helped Ilara into another crevice, hidden among jagged stone. Stay here, he whispered. No, she protested. Don't go alone. I'm not leaving, he said softly. I'm leading them away. Her hand shot out, gripping his. Please, don't leave me. Jake hesitated. Something in her voice broke through every hardened part of him. He squeezed her hand. I won't, he said. Not ever. The approaching hoofbeats grew louder. Jake positioned himself outside the hiding place, gun raised, ready for whatever came. Ilara watched him, heart racing, breath shallow. And for the first time since she'd been taken weeks ago, she felt hope. Jake braced himself as shadows moved across the canyon. Crenshaw made a mistake, he muttered. He should be known, I don't take people as payment. I protect them. The riders emerged. Jake fired. The canyon exploded with gunfire. And far above, the moon lit the desert with a cold, silver glow, watching, silent, as everything changed forever.